Um, how do you want her to contact you?
We'll do Facebook.
On Facebook? Okay, if you could do a favor, go on your Facebook, cancel your request, friend request to me, and then resend it just so I can find it. I'm not seeing it.
Okay.
And then what did you want to speak about today, Soma, since we've got several podcasters here?
Yes, thank you, Brian. So, welcome everyone to. I'm just going to make sure I've pressed all the right buttons here. Yes. So, welcome everyone. These are normally my Saturday channeling groups. We've lost Veronica, but we have four podcasts here, four podcast hosts here. Um, And I'm not sure, Alex, if you have a podcast as well, but I'm sure that's in the pipeline. So we have myself, Soma Arar, we have Veronica Bartolini, we have Michelle Whitney, we have Brian Seng, the Solar Bee, um, and we have Alex Nielsen and Emily Scala. Amira has popped off, I think. Um, And Dennis is with me, but Dennis is might pop in later. Um, so welcome everyone. Today's date is the 25th of October, 2025, and it is 3 minutes past 8 here in Ireland. And like I was saying, this is normally my Saturday channeling group, but I really don't feel like I have an inclination or energy to be doing a channeling this evening. I've had quite a lot going on personally, and as always, been under a lot of targeting, which comes and goes. Um, but it's always there in the background. But I've been really fed up lately. The last, it's been progressive, but it's kind of eased off yesterday morning, where I got more energy and more oomph. So this evening we're going to do some kind of discussion or joint co-host between the four of us. Um, so okay, so maybe we can recap on some stuff.
Soma, sorry, real quick, can you say okay for me to record? Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I thought I did that. Where
Okay.
do I see the button?
Request to start recording. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so yeah. So welcome everyone. I'm not probably won't be doing a channeling unless I step into it. Unless they kind of, press that button for me. And Dennis won't be doing the prayers this evening either. But thank you everyone for joining us. And recently I was on Veronica Bartolini's podcast with the amazing John D'Souza, who I have a lot of respect for, and um, started to tune into his energy, and very interesting man. Everyone should really go and watch that interview. Um, very open, honest man, very what's the word? Um, very open, transparent, very transparent. And so is there anything that the three of you would like to, or anyone actually would like to discuss this evening? Because myself, I'm thinking Three Eye Atlas, which I'm very much kind of on the fence about, and personally, and also the digital IDs in the UK. There is a lot of stuff happening around the world. There is a lot of so much that we cannot possibly keep up with exactly what's happening. It's not like the olden days, and it's not even like 2020 when there was only one or two things going on in the world of huge significance. Now that is really changed. There's huge significance going on everywhere, and it's happening every 5 minutes, and we cannot possibly keep up with what's happening. And so in Ireland, at the UK at the moment, there is the digital IDs coming out in the UK. Of course, the Ireland will follow because it always does. And in Ireland, the focus has been on a lot of children. getting raped. There was a 10-year-old the other day that was raped last week in Dublin by an immigrant staying at a immigration centre. So that is a big focus of Ireland. And there's a lot of protests and things happening here. So it seems we're on the brink of civil war still. So maybe you guys, do you want to take it up from there? I
I
don't know
want
who.
to say something. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I wanted to put all this immigration in the context of something known as a Caligari plan. You know, I used to organize service workers and farm workers for a bit in the early 2000s, but there's a long tradition of that going back to the 1950s, post-World War II period. And um, migration today is very different than what it used to be. It went from the Bracero program where they were bringing farm workers over from Mexico, and then granting them green cards and monitoring that to really something known as the Caligari plan, which is there was a count, I don't know if it's the 1800s or the 1900s, Count something von Caligari and Kaligeri, and he was basically an Illuminati Freemason type, New World Order type. And he was saying the best way to destabilize Western democracies and societies is to import mass amounts of military age men who are unattached and who generally hate the culture they're being introduced to, are totally antithetical to it culturally in many ways. When you look at Sharia law and honor killings and men can rape women, at will, that's not compatible with Western democracies, much less Christian countries, for whatever that's worth. And so the migration, we're seeing it disrupting it's the long arc of the destruction and destabilization in the Middle East in especially the post-World War II period, leading up to now, getting worse and worse with the neocon American plan for the new American century, where they literally wanted to take out everyone from from the Caspian Sea or in and around that, and then the Middle Eastern area, not the Caspian Sea, but around the region where it's like Iraq, Afghanistan, Iran, and they're all lined up. And that's not just some kind of neocon thing out of the United States. That's just the regional plan of the regional set of Illuminati groups vying for world power, while the rest of us are seen as chattel, slaves to be eaten or used. And the mass immigration, they're doing the classical problem solution, you know, um, dialectical behavior, but to herd us with their problems and their solutions into the box and direction that they eventually want us stuck in. And so all of this is happening very intentionally here in the United States over the past two, especially Obama and Biden administrations. We've had, I think, just under the the Biden administration alone, um, 10 million undocumented immigrants, and many of them are Tren de Aragua and MS-13 gang
10
and
million.
cartel members. 10 million.
Wow.
Million. That's right. And a big issue is these are not people coming to pick our crops. They're not coming to become doctors or engineers. These are literally tattooed on the face gang members, and they practice all sorts of Luciferianism and Satanism. They do sacrifices and prayers and rituals to um, the Saint Death, Santa Muerte, and it's like an Antichrist Mother Maria figure, and it's really dark and bad. So none of this is just happening in a vacuum. Oh, we're having migration is good or migration is bad. it needs to be seen through a much more nuanced historical context and understanding who are the players driving this and why.
Can I say something? Say again?
Yes, please go ahead, Veronica.
Thank you, Brian, for that. That is absolutely true. And as Jim Mars said before he was killed off, right? There's 38 families who own the Earth's money, okay? There's 7 countries that we'll just say they want to take down with a certain period of time. So we got the cartels, popes, president, CPS, police, CIA, FBI, Black Ops, all of that. Some of them are involved, okay? And they're involved with the negative ETs. Now, I have a very close friend who used to work for, we'll just say Dr. V, as in Victor, from Hawaii. He was best friends with the governor of Hawaii. And I, in my vision of 2019, saw that there was going to be like 5 of those baby Jabberwockies, and I also saw the zombie apocalypse in my visions. She said they were getting paid like 150 grand a month. I'm sorry, 150,000 a year to set up camps right here in where I live in Arizona. At a moment's notice, people would be coming in from the border. What she said, and I quote, mostly middle-aged, angry men who hated women would come with fake families, right? She was appalled and surprised why the mother or the father had no clue what was the history of the child, you know? And so what she said is they would drop their ID at the border and she would say, okay, do you want to still be named the same or do you want to pick another name? Pick another name. And what I saw is that they're going to be used for the Civil War, you know, the takeover of humanity pretty much. And it's not just the United States. They would go out to other countries. They would be coming from everywhere. Russia, China, Afghanistan, you name it, Africa, whatever. Venezuela. A lot of the Venezuelans have killed major people. Okay, major political people. What I was told by another source is that most men who have killed presidents have been Black. Okay, top secret. So what they are doing is incorporating these people to pretend to be normal. And when the time, when the crap hits the fan, like they say, they're gonna pretty much activate these sleeper cells. You can call them that. Unfortunately, so that's why I'm speaking out, because I don't consent to this. Now, according to John DeSouza, he said that Trump, I quote, does not want us to call it the Civil War because there's no one on the other side. So it actually completes or goes hand in hand with the vision that I had in 2019. Boots on the ground. Everybody, the only people that were able to drive were the people that were handing over a piece of paper to the military. And guess what that is? Digital ID. All right. So all this is trying to credit score. All right. They want us in a little box, smart cities that you can't even talk to your neighbor without being surveillance, the facial recognition, if you've taken out a loan and you haven't paid, that goes against your points. Who knows? You might not even get, help. Food stamps, you might not even get even just regular insurance because, hey, you stole something or you did this or you did that, you didn't pay this or whatever, and everything is being surveillance. Our medical records are all put in as well for surveillance and tracking. Go ahead, I'm done. Thank you for now.
Oh no, Veronica, I just wanted to thank you, darling. I just wanted to add to that I see them push, like, this is the same product that they did in 2020. It's the same bullshit. It's just a different packaging. And we rose up then. And I do see I do see love winning. In the long term, I see that there's a positive outcome. But and I'm also trying to figure out what the solutions are. And at the same time, I can see that one of the solutions, one of the major solutions, is creating community and growing our own food, having our own clean water supply, coming away from the big cities, coming away from the big pharma, coming away from the big supermarkets, coming away from all of that, and going back to more of a time of our grannies' era when we, here in Ireland, we just we were poverty-stricken farmers. We had nothing. And that was largely due to the British, who have gone into every country almost and taken over the people, taken over the land, taken over the resources. And when I see that, I always get this image in my mind of the Queen, the royal family, and the British is laughable, because they're German, but the British royal family, as they're known, going in and claiming other people's lands. And what about the children that the Queen, where the Queen went, and her son, diabolical as he is, reptilian family, they went over to Canada, and there was hundreds of children, but there was a large amount of children that went missing and never seen again. Nothing was heard of them. And what about the child, the Indian little boy, the little Indian boy that was hanging out the window? What happened to him? That's also recorded. And I was recently, I think Brian was at the channeling, where, and I've seen it a few times, where, but in front of the Royal Palace in London, there is a large area of grass, and beneath that, I was seeing tunnels and children. What about that? And it kind of, sometimes it gets to me, because I always see things. Well, I don't always see things, but especially with the reptilians, I always see the bigger picture, where it's the governments and the royal families that are really, and the elites that are really at the top of the pyramid, that are um very much part of the reptilian alien species that is governing our planet. So we just, rule the day that people just go in peacefully and take out these people from the parliaments and the government official buildings without violence. We don't have to have violence unless, we're retaliating. But I'm sorry to interrupt you, Veronica, because I do want you continue, and other people as well. But I just wanted to bring in there that, it's we're not dealing with normal human beings at all. We're dealing with people who use black magic on a very high level to control money, control us, control our lives. And we need to come away from that big time. And there was a couple of things you mentioned there where I started to get really ignited, and that fire in the belly, where I just couldn't not speak about what I was seeing, that I've seen so many times before, where and that's the point I was making. In 2020, we did rise up with this, because this is the same product, it's the same bullshit, and it's packaged in a different way, but with the digital IDs, it's a form of control on their next level. But I do see us rising up. But so what are the solutions to that?
It all begins with disclosure, because until enough people in the general populace even acknowledge that these things are real, there's no way to get the society as a whole to deal with these things. And so we first have to be very clear in getting people to understand who are the real players and what are the stakes. And then that's a whole education in terms of our galactic origins and history, a whole redo of the general understanding of cosmology. And of course we're not alone, and of course there's higher dimensions and lower dimensions, and of course we reincarnate. These things are nowhere near consensus, even in our own communities, much less larger society. And then in terms of getting enough wherewithal to deal with like literally, multi-thousand year secret society cults that are kidnapping our children and have infiltrated our militaries and governments the world over, again, um, it begins with disclosure, and then off of that, we can have organization. But you have to build organization off of an understanding of what's really going on.
But that's the other thing. Over the last year or so, maybe even 2 years, I've really seen such a divide growing within what we're doing, bringing disclosure. It's like everyone's really at each other. And I was watching, Nicole Light, I think she's called, she does the channeling, but she does light language, but she also does it with her hands, where she's doing that with her hands, and while she's often doing the light language, whether she's doing it audibly or silently in her head. But she does a lot of symbols and hand movements with that. But I was watching her the other day. I love her energy. I think she's very good and very high vibrational and motivational. But she even put out a post video saying, stop it. Like, stop bickering with each other, stop arguing with each other, because that's part of the infiltration, that's filtered down, where it's creating
I have to speak to this.
please.
Part of it is people, a lot of people, they want peace. We all want peace, but we want peace on different terms. There's this peace to have for the sake of peace, but to have real true peace, we have to have consensus agreements. And part of how we get to agreements is not through the bickering, but it does require debate, and it does require people as a society working through these things, having these public discussions, so that hopefully we come out with the more higher vibration moral understanding versus just endlessly bickering. And and part of it, again, as it comes to disclosure, is because the bickering, it's going to be endless and in circles if we're bickering about the wrong things. But if we're now calling out what's really going on and who's really orchestrating these things and why they're orchestrating them, and it's not just Democrats versus Republicans, or it's not just the bad orange man versus Big Mike, and the killer Clintons, and there's a greater understanding, and it goes all the way up to the ET and then to the angelic and demonic realms there. We won't ever be able to have a consensus because the bickering isn't about the right, we're not having the right discussion.
What discussion should we be having? What?
That there are secret space programs, time travel, negative ET alliances with governments all over the world going back to World War II and beforehand in some cases, where the underground bases are, who are the military personnel involved in
But we
the
know this stuff, Brian.
no, we don't. You and I know it, but you and I go out on the street, go to your local pub, start talking about half of what we talk about, and you go say, "Oh, everyone." No, they don't. That's
That's
you wish
Brian.
I mean us. We know this
that
stuff.
don't. It's not good enough. We're the music teachers with no students and no one else is playing music, but great, we can play music. That doesn't matter. That doesn't
A
count.
lot. Yeah, I do agree with Brian and Soma. What you're asking is, this is what I have run into time and time again. Just with my own, we'll just say my own family. Just yesterday I was talking to somebody. Hey, they froze my food stamps. I'm gonna have to sell more books and make more books and make more appearances, you know? And she says, oh, it's because the viejo, the man, the ugly man just wants everything for him. And I'm like, no,
The
it's
government
not
shutdown
that.
is also a
Right.
government shutdown.
The government shutdown is part of the China credit score. And I even told this person, I said, look, Obama did it back when he was around. He did the government shutdown. I said, It's not that he's greedy, Mom. You don't understand. It goes even beyond that. When this is just one little case, when he was going bankrupt, Trump, I was told that he had to get bailed out by different bankers. And of course, this also goes with the bankers in space that are in Mars, the moon, Jupiter, and all that crap. So now he's having to do favors, okay? And there's 47 layers above the president. So everybody is a puppet pretty much. So we're still praying, hoping that, hey, Trump, come on, like, help the people, but he's not our savior. Okay, no one is coming here to save us. So that, yes, we need to keep talking to people. At the same time, we run into walls where they're watching the stupid fake news and crap, excuse my language, and they are programmed. Okay, so they have free will. They have free will to believe what they believe in. I just lost a friend because he asked me, so what, you think Charlie Kirk was that he should have just kept speaking because he kept speaking and creating violence? I'm like, hold up, wait a minute, right? We have free will, don't we? So he said block. He actually wrote down block, and I'm like, what? All righty then. That's what, we just got to find other ways. And like Brian said, keep doing the disclosures and keep writing about your experiences and find out what your mission is. I found out that most of our mission is to know thyself, because all these MK Ultra crap, this voice to skull and all this surveillance, all this biohacking of our bodies and our phones, sending us messages. Is it us or is it them? So we always have to know ourselves, right? Know thyself, so that when the true, we'll just say, because everybody says, oh, Jesus is coming back. Well, that's the fake alien invasion. And if you don't know his voice, child, you're going to go up on that ship and you're going to go, and like that movie Deus, D-E-U-Z, you're going to die. You're going to be eaten. Your heart is going to be eaten. Don't give your heart away. Your heart is yours for a reason. So it goes it's the layers and layers. We need to heal ourselves, help other people, and also, and I'm thinking also, I believe that we also have to remain humble, okay, in a way, and just keep talking. Like today, I spoke to a man on the street, guys. I said, hey, so I saw that he was in the military. He's not homeless. He lives with his daughter, but he's an alcoholic. And he said, you know what happened to me? I had a near death experience. I died, he said. So real quick, he told me that his wife and him were driving, and an 18-wheeler took her out, decapitated her. And he just was mad, started getting into drugs or whatever. He was driving over 100 miles. He said 193 miles an hour, but I don't know. He just said he was going, really fast. He was mad because his wife, ride or die, had died. He got in a car accident, rolled. He has no idea what the hell happened. He was in the hospital. He has a scar here. He was almost decapitated. There was a dark angel that came, and he put his hands on his head. He says, you're going to die. For sure, you're going to die tonight. Then he saw himself in a casket. Guess what? He walks out of the hospital. His mother and he was in the army. I saw that he was in the military. I said, sir, were you in the army? He said, yes, for 2 years. Just like me. I was in the U.S. Army Reserve for 2 years. And I said, he says that they call him dead man walking. And what he does is he goes to the streets, certain good places to help people with errands or whatever, and he gets paid. So he knows a lot. He were talking about certain programs in the military and stuff. I didn't want to take too much of his time, and I don't want to take too much of your time here, but there's a lot of people that are homeless, unfortunately, that have been using the Stargate program. I was using the Stargate program. They would throw us in, through the wormhole, through the Stargates, through the portals, and good luck if you made it, Charlie Brown. Most of them came back catatonic, some died, most of them died. We're here survival. We're survival. We're super soldiers. They call us super soldiers, but we're superhuman because we were born this way. We're stars.
Yeah.
Most of us are stars that fall to help humanity or are captive. I know they captivated me. They got me. They took me in. I did not sign no contract. I don't care who tells me that. But anyway, this is this kind of stuff that we need to keep talking individually and maybe one by one. Hey, what's the best deal? Door-to-door sales. I did that. I still do that. Even no, maybe not knocking, but word of mouth. That's how I sell my junk journals that I make, my beautiful, junk journals. I make my books. I keep, you know, someone gave me an opportunity in 2021 to speak in March without a book, without any writings. And I was grateful for that. And I started my YouTube channel in 2018. And then slowly and surely, wow, I discovered I was in the secret space program. Wow, I know this person, I know that person. Then Brian gave me the opportunity this year to go to Florida and speak. I'm so freaking grateful to you, Brian. And may more blessings come to you because he, like I said in my vision, he is the helps the pretty much Saint Vicente. I come from the line of Saint Vincent de Paul. I said, you're like him. So that's what I have to say. And I think we have to have each other's back because you see someone struggling and you just can't say, good luck, brother. Good luck.
I have to say something, and maybe I should not be doing it publicly, but here I am, and it's in front of my face. So over the last, I would say 8 months, maybe longer, I've had friends on both sides that are within the field come to me or turn up, or I've reached out to them, and sometimes they've been bickering. So this is a scenario that's happening at the moment, and it's happened before. And I refuse to take sides. I refuse to. It's like that scene from the Nazi film where the Nazi makes the woman choose between the son or the daughter. And I'm not going to choose. I'm not choosing.
But I have to say something here.
Yeah. There are, of course,
there are controversies or disagreements in our community that no one needs to weigh in on other than the people directly involved.
exactly.
But then there are discussions in our community that we need to have that some people will never agree upon, and it's okay. And we need to still work separately, if not together, to work towards full disclosure, even if we have irreconcilable disagreements. Like the people who, no matter what, all ETs are demons. Okay, you know what? Hey, you guys are patriots and you're fighting against the demons. Great. But that's as close as I can get to you because obviously I'm in a very different worldview. Okay. That there are others of these right now. I'm in the middle of being slandered and smeared and libeled very publicly. And, there are people who say, oh, I don't want to get involved with that. You know what? If anyone's attacking you and they're smearing and libeling you and it's bullshit, I certainly am not going to take a side. I'm not going to like, oh, you guys work it out. No, I'm gonna like, wait a second. Don't you say that out, Soma. That's not true. That's not principled. It's not helpful. And I will call those people out every time. I will pick a side if I see that one side is a morally superior position. If they're both shit positions, I don't need to take a side. But if there's a good position to take, I'll take that one.
I wasn't speaking about you, Brian. I was
No,
speaking
no.
about something else, but I'm not going to choose, like, because these are my friends. These are not people that are
So what? Sometimes they need you to choose. If one is being an ass, it doesn't matter if they're your friend. They're being an ass. Wake them up. Smack them up. They're your friend. Do them a favor. It's better than, oh, pox upon both your houses. You go ahead, be passive aggressive, abusive to this person, but I'm not going to say anything because you're my friend. I don't, I, I don't know about that.
maybe I need to relook at that. I think you have a valid point.
You gotta
And
call him out, Soma. You gotta call him out. And if you guys remain friends after that, great. If not, oh well. But you gotta call people out.
but
Like
the
if
person,
someone
but
is
the
sli
person,
is
hold on. The person I'm speaking about is
yeah.
both of your friends as well. So maybe we like
Then we should address it. Then we can address it, and we address it on principles. It's not a
Yeah.
popularity contest. It's is this person in the right or are they in the wrong? And let's work it out. You know, when I'm being attacked and slandered, and then I stand up for myself, and people say, "Well, Brian, you're getting just as nasty as these people." It's like, no. At the point where I'm standing up for myself, these people have come after me. They've been totally in the wrong. I've been nothing but good or neutral to them, and they're only attacking me. And then now I stand up, but it's F both of you. You know what? That's not friendship. That's not friendship. That's enabling at best.
I just see that from my perspective, I'm taking kind of a back seat and letting them sort their own shit out. Like I have no, it's not my karma to be getting involved in a tizzy between.
Is one more correct than the other, or are they just both?
I don't know, to be honest. Like I
Well,
wasn't there. I don't know what happened. So
hmm.
I don't
We
know the
can
whole story.
we
I
can
don't.
talk you and Brian and I can talk and
But let me
after
give an
this.
example without using names. Okay, there's probably a different set of people. They're still in our community. Okay, there was someone I was friends with in this community who they told me a bunch of very exaggerated tall tales about certain groups. And yeah, these groups have issues, certain t New Age TV channel, but this person made it out a lot worse than it really was. And it turns out this person himself is part of how that New Age channel got so off the rails to where it is today. Okay. And now that I've learned who he is, and no matter, doesn't matter all the love I had for this person's been sowing a lot of evil and poison in our community, and they need to be called out. And now that I've called this person out and I've let him know that until he becomes a lover of truth, I'm not interested in working with him or being his friend or dealing with him. Well, now he's going both barrels, slandering me and my business colleagues and saying horrible, nasty stuff about us. But if I never explored that, and got to the bottom of this person and why so many other people were having issues with him, and I just was his friend and I didn't take a part in it, but I was still his friend, and now I've got 22,000 friends on Facebook, and now this person's getting all these friends and connections because they're friends with me, and I'm taking a hands-off approach. Am I being hands-off, or am I enabling a very abusive danger to our community? Well, what's the right thing to do? It's to protect the community. It's not to, for the sake of peace, let an abusive person in our community continue to be obviously abusive, but it's okay because they're my friend, so I won't get involved.
But
I
this
don't
is
know. I don't know if
this is
that's in your
really big.
situation.
This is a really I'm very grateful for what you're saying, and I do, like, I'm always able to see the tree and then all different perspectives, or people around the tree seeing all different views. I'm always able to see that, because it's an image I'm always shown by the Pleiadians. But I think what you're saying is very valid, very important. But then there's also the other aspect. There's many different aspects to what you're saying here, which is really important and very much an issue at the moment. And then there's also the aspect of getting sucked into the bullshit, which I'm not prepared to do. I'm staying on my mission, which is to channel the Pleiadians and not get involved with the bullshit. Like, unless someone is hurting people or suing them or doing shit like that, that's kind of taking it a step further. But if people are yeah, I'm just on my
In
mission.
general, Soma, it does end up in the ugly people getting hurt category. And that's exactly why I have found in my experience in general, unless it's something I don't need to be involved in, if it is something there's a position to be taken, I try to take it if there's a right position to be taken. Because it's better to take the right position to be quiet while evil or negativity is occurring.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely, you're right. You're spot on. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this is more like bullshit and petty stuff. Like it's yeah, it's
Well,
not to
then
the
if it's
level.
bullshit and petty, then all right, then that's one thing. But
Yeah.
if it's at the level of this other person, it needs to be called out.
Yeah. No, I would always call out abuse, and which I did in my book, and my family actually walked away from me. And because of it, because I called out the abuse in my book. Um, which was, my family walking away was a result that I hadn't foreseen, and or was kind of avoiding looking at. But that was very painful. But I will always call out abuse and wrongdoings. Um, and the other thing I wanted to, Veronica was saying earlier about homelessness. And there's actually a lot of spiritual people that have been homeless. And I think it is part of targeting. There's two very prominent people that were homeless. One is Eckhart Tolle, and the other is Neil Donald Walsh. Both of them were homeless. Um, and I think that is very much part of targeting. There's so many of us that have been homeless. I myself was homeless, and I think Veronica was homeless, and Michelle as well, who's with us this evening, and Emily has also experienced that, who's here this evening. I'm not sure about Alex or yourself, but the homelessness is and money, the control system of money. Um, so I don't know, where do you guys want to take this? Michelle hasn't spoken yet at all, and she's got her hand up. So, Michelle, do you want to go next?
Sorry, my phone's gonna die, but if I could just speak for a few minutes, and I hope I can come to another group. I just want to start by saying thank you for having me. Um, there's so much that everyone said, and I've really just been taking it in, and it resonates so deep. I kind of feel like being invited to this group was divine. So I'm the Earth Grid Rescue Mission on YouTube. I started doing podcasting when my good friend Renetta Jones was targeted and hunted down like an animal and killed under very suspicious circumstances. And I was kind of hurled into podcasting on the tail end of a spiritual awakening that happened one night. Now, I'd already been a researcher for years. I've spent the last 7 years being an occupational therapist for the Department of Veteran Affairs, specifically for my now ex-fiance, who's a Purple Heart combat wounded veteran. And through me speaking out and exposing the Luciferian Brotherhood and exposing their totalitarian tiptoe, as David Icke would say, I started being heavily targeted and literally was thrown out on the streets. I don't want to mention the name of the person who took me in, but that ended up not being a stable situation. I literally am homeless as we speak. I have been through 5 states in the last week, and thankfully I have a car, but I mean, my paycheck was being controlled and handled by my ex. I had to report him to the VA yesterday. It was a very emotionally abusive relationship. It was very hard for me to do that. I felt like guilty in a way, like I was doing something wrong. But it's been very hard for me to have a voice. And even the person who I'm sure had good intentions that took me in, I ended up losing all my belongings. And I'm not trying to like say this to feel bad for myself. It's just the circumstances in which I found myself under. Thankfully, I'm college educated. I'm a hard worker. I've already gotten a job. I'm getting ready to start. I always say diamonds are made under pressure, right? And clearly I must be doing something right if I have caught the attention of those in the spirit realm and their human counterparts that they make contracts with to usher in, end time wars, but really do their dirty deeds. I know all of us. I've talked to Brian. Brian's been a good friend to me, Soma. And I actually know Veronica. I've talked to Veronica once on email. This was a couple months ago, and I never even got to email her back or do a show with her because at that point I was disowned by my family. I went through my relationship of almost a decade being dismantled, and now I've been kind of thrown around and lost everything I had. But I know that I too have a mission. And what I really wanted to touch on was this. When I had my spiritual awakening, I had angels appear, and I do believe they were authentic angels because I know I'm connected with the seraphim, and they gave me a solution to help save humanity. And so I started investigating these businesses like Palantir, Northrop Grumman, the military industrial complex. And what I uncovered was hundreds and hundreds of patents that, to kind of piggyback on what Veronica was saying, have to do with what you might call the mark of the beast, which is this social credit system where you're on house arrest. And if you eat meat or if you don't get your vaccines, you literally are not able to even order food. You're not able to, you're not even dealing with humans at that point. You're dealing with monitoring by satellites and AI drone swarms, and the infrastructure, the patents, everything is already in place. They're just waiting for their next false flag to usher all this in. And what they intend to do is, chip and mark all of us up so that we are unable to rebel. I've actually found legal language and patents and laws that have been passed and oaths that have been, sworn between literally every country in the United Nations about their part in this 2030 depopulation agenda. And if you even get a idea in your mind that you're going to get a group together and rally and start to rebel, they will send in directed energy frequencies off satellites to suppress your brain waves. And so this is a very scary reality to think about. But I do want to say, because I'm not into fear mongering, I have a lot of hope for the future, because the night that I had this awakening, I was given a scientific strategy using scalar waves. And that's what I was working on with my friend Renetta Jones at the time of her untimely passing, I should say. So I do believe that, we've all been connected for a reason. I've channeled over 3,000 pages of information, and I've had, sent that off to engineers and scientists that work with scalar wave technology to run simulations and models. And I'm starting to get people together that want to basically implement a Earth Grid rescue mission plan. And that's why that's the name of my channel. So I'm sorry, I know I've been long-winded, and like I said, my phone's gonna die, but
Earth Grid Rescue Mission. Yeah. Sorry.
Welcome back, guys.
So Michelle was saying that she lost, everything. I lost everything when I decided to leave my ex-husband. I was a prisoner along with my children of my own home. He was a cop, I was a cop. I couldn't tell my chief. A lot of things happened, and I ended up losing everything. He took me to court, took my son. He wanted my daughter, and he and his attorney blackmailed me. I wrote about it in the book, and in the book I was going to title it My Naked Truths, a Female Cop, but I actually changed it to My Life in the Secret Space Program, and it's a rundown of my life since I was a child, since I was born, how I was used in the Dolphin program, which I named Crystal Gates, the Hulk program, the anger that is my superpower, okay, and love as well. But there's a middle, like when X-Men, when Magneto, is taught. I think it's presidential, X-Men presidential. I cried so much in that part because they killed his mom in the Holocaust in front of him, and he was so angry that Xavier was teaching him how to go through the middle to be able to control his superpowers. That's what I have to do. But anyway, I lost everything. I ended up being homeless. I had to live. I was homeless, and I had to call. Huh?
When was this, Veronica?
This was okay. So the shooting happened 10/31 of 2010. They let me go from the police department in 2011. My ex was also involved, but I can't say that. Both police departments covered it, and I was homeless in 2012. He took my home, which anyway, I
So
wrote about it.
twice.
Say again?
You were homeless twice?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
But what happened is I had to call my sister and I had to live with her. I had to do disability. It took 11 months. Then I had to live with another sister. I couldn't live with my mom because of the trauma, and she was still an alcoholic back then. Now, thank goodness she's not. A lot of crap happened in my life, and so I finally I had reached out to Ariana Morjani. What's her name? Very famous Morjani Indian lady, right? From India. I thought if I told her my story, that she would reach out to me and that I was going to be on, YouTube and maybe help other people. Hell no. She never responded. And so these big YouTubers don't care about the little people. I'm telling you, they don't care. She didn't care about my story. So I had to start talking about it. Then one of my channels was hacked, taken down. I trusted someone with my website. Hey, can you make me a website? I had no idea how to make a website. Hey, can you help me with t-shirts? He stole from me. He stole it from me. And there was a person that was a witness, which I'm not going to say her last name, but her first name is Vicky, and her son were with me. Susan knows, but this person with the V, she was there at the restaurant with me when this guy, Jay, he got mad at me. He said, "Why do you need your password, V?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's on one. I still left one of the videos on with him so people could see who he is. He took over my Facebook page group. He tried to poison people, telling lies about me. I'm like, this mother effer. What the? So I had to just start from ground zero. I had more than 1,500 subscribers for Unchained Hearts. I had another one that was hacked, Unchaining Hearts. And then I came back with Codebreaker, real talk. And I got help with making a website from Iris Jackson. I will always be eternally grateful for her. And so I lost everything twice. And I'm like, all right, well, I died for 3 days. I was in the hospital for 3 days. I saw things. I wrote about it in the book. I came back. Then I had to spend a month and a half in the hospital. And the next red flag, guess what it was? It was a congressman woman who was married to Kelly, the astronaut. Wannabe, because NASA's fake. She was in the hospital after I left. I was in the hospital a month and a half. My ex put me in a freaking psych ward. Okay, this is how bad it was. Got divorced, lost everything, like I said. So Gifford was in the hospital after me in January of 2011. I was in the hospital 10/31/2010. You can look up my records. I don't care. I'm a public figure. I don't care. I don't give a crap what people think about me. I have been slandered in the SSP community. And you know what? I had to take a stand. I took my stand. I even tried to forgive this person because someone, Brian said, hey, try to figure it out. Well, she wouldn't have it. So, okay. Done. I forgive them for me. But I will no longer give my trust the way I did to this woman that I love with all my heart. So I tell you all this, guys, because it's all up to you. If it is up to be, it's up to you. You can't put your power, you can't let go of that power that is sovereign. You have to find out who you are. You have to tell your story. That's why I ask anybody, whoever wants to be on my show, if they cannot afford a reading, hey, let's go on the show and talk about your story.
Yeah.
And that's how I help the community, one by one. And you have seen 10 people that have been on my show since I started. They're big now. They're big in the SSP. They have their own podcast. They wrote their books. John Whitberg was the first one on my show. Eve Howard, Susan Long, what's his name? Emmerich, what was his name? Her twin flame that was a liar, that we didn't know he was a liar.
Yes.
Frank Emmerich, okay? James Ring gave me the opportunity to be on his show, but then he turned around and anyway, I help people. So If they do me wrong, it's returned to them sevenfold like that.
Mm.
They get cancer, or they get, their shit taken away. Something happens to their family. They lose everything. They lose their dearest pet. Something happens to them. Because I am trying to be the best that I can be. We have to. I'm not trying to make it about me, but I'm saying Brian wants to talk about what is real. Well, I was using the secret space program on my cover. Okay, I was in the army. I was a cop, and what? One of the guys told me at the conference when I spoke in 2021 in Las Vegas. He said, "You know what they did? They used it as a cover to get you in the secret space program." And then they wanted me to kill myself so that I would not be here speaking about the truth of the secret space program, Black Ops, you name it, child
Yeah.
sacrifice. I do not consent. That's why I speak about this, because we need to help save our children, because how are the children going to save themselves? And it's not just plain as day. They also infiltrate your children, okay? Through pornography, through, hey, let's go and sell some drugs and make money. Hey, why don't you, do this to that person and I'll give you money. Whatever. You have to also save your own children, guys. Because there's a verse in the Bible that says you must be first. I forget what it is exactly, but you must be you must take care of your own household first. You must govern your own household first before you go out there and preach.
Yeah.
So that's what I got to say. Thank you for this opportunity. And Brian, thank you. Forever grateful for Brian. I even got to speak in person with Sarah Adams, and there's people in the community trying to slander her because I became friends with her because I needed to know what happened to Max. And I said, and I'm going to say it right now, back in the day in 2017, I figured out that it was Swirlo and Monica. But somebody had tried to say that it was Sarah and Miles Johnson. Okay. And now this female and this male are talking crap about me online because I'm friends now, with this person. So I'm still trying to get to the bottom of it. I contacted the last guy who was on interviewing Max Spears from Poland. He was there with him the last days, and I'm trying to get a hold of him. He hasn't not contacted me back. Thank you, Angela, for putting me in contact with him. And we'll see what happens, guys. All I knew is back in the day when I saw Max Spears and James Caswell. Oh, I sent out a message to James Caswell to see if he can be on our show. He said he's going to look at his calendar. So I knew back then in 2016, guys, that I'm like, oh my gosh, 2017, my awakening. I'm a super soldier. I know Max. I know James. I know. Oh my gosh. I knew I was going to be on Carrie Cassidy's show, or she was going to be on mine. I didn't have a podcast back then in 2017. I was just awakening. I knew I was going to be in Miles Johnson's show. Later on, I knew John DeSouza was going to be on my show. And I'm just so thrilled and grateful. And it's hard. It's not easy because I'm being attacked every freaking day. I have severe pain. I've had cancer 3 times just recently, the past 2.5 years. They took my lower left lung. They took all of my buttocks. Okay. I couldn't sit for 5 months. It didn't close until a year later. Do you know how hard it is for me to work out and then come home and pretty much have to take like so many supplements and teas, and I'm so grateful for the people that have helped me throughout this. And I'm still here, and it's not easy. I'm not about fame. I'm not about, no. I don't even have a car. Okay. It broke down. They targeted my vehicle. I went to this place. I'm not going to say the place online that I went to here in Tucson on the south side, because I wanted them to fix my vehicle. Guess what they did? They called me. No, they didn't call me. I'm like, it's been an hour. What happened to my beastie? She's my transformer. She's my ride or die. And I still talk to her telepathically. I had to get rid of her. They said, it got caught in the lines. And what do you mean it got caught in what line? So they lifted her. My beastie, she's a 1997 Gen 3 badass 4Runner stick shift. She got stuck. Supposedly some wires or some hoses. What? And then they didn't fix her. And something told me, download an app because they put a surveillance camera on her. Sure enough, I showed my nephew. I go, look, mijo, there's a camera. There's a hearing auditory thing there under my timon, which is the steer, and then another one under my glove compartment. When I lend my son to a certain family member, my car to a certain family member, somebody offered to fix it. They had my vehicle hostage for 3 weeks, and I kept telling them, I need my car, I need my car. That person, okay, so anyway, they did so much damage to my car. I don't have a car anymore. I walk to the cancer center, or I take the bus, 2 buses to the gym. I'm not stopping. They can't stop me. They can't. Even on my deathbed, you know what I mean? I always say I'm gonna live till I'm 115 years old, because that's a perfect 7. So it's a lot of pain, guys. A lot of pain, and Soma's right, Carol. They target me every freaking day. Pain like you wouldn't believe. Some days it's hard to walk. And I need 3 more surgeries, but I'm here. I'm here telling my story, you guys. This shit is real. Okay? There's no bullshit here. I'm an open book. I'm a mirror. I'm your mirror. If you don't like it, then you have to clear it. And yes, I keep being humble, and I'm clearing mine. Of course, I'm not perfect. We're not here to be perfect. I try and help a lot of people, but I have to remember, because Edgar Casey keeps telling me, yo, look what they did to me. They used me so much that I pretty much died because I gave so much. And he keeps telling me, slow down. Slow down. You know, balance your chi. Breathe. I gotta breathe. All right, that's it for now. Sorry. Took
You
your
know,
channel. Sorry.
there
Over.
was a time at the conference, for those listening that don't know, in Florida in July, that was run by Brian Seng. But you had just spoken, or you'd spoken earlier, or I think you had just spoken, and maybe you weren't even on the stage, but you had the microphone. I remember you had the microphone in your hand, and maybe you were asking a question or sharing stuff. But the stuff that you were saying made me really emotional. And I think I was next up on the stage, and I had the microphone, and I was really, really emotional. Like, you could see it. And I kind of regret that I was so emotional. And I think it was on the 17th, on the second day of my speaking. But you ignited that what I shared at the time. You ignited in me that I said something along the lines of, this is, this is like, this is our lives that we have to live every day, which includes the targeting. And it's not about being a public figure or being in the limelight or money, or I've been slandered myself. People have said that I've been doing the readings for money. And that's not it. I've been homeless. I don't live in a fucking mansion. And I struggle for money. And yet people have this perception of us that is not real at all. And I think that's when you say stuff like that, Veronica, I think that's what makes me emotional, is that people's perception of us is not how it is at all. I'm a channel for the Pleiadians, but I'm not walking around in fucking La La Land, So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Who would like to go next? Are there any subjects you guys want to cover? I think we lost Michelle. Brian? Emily?
Well, I did want to offer a different perspective after hearing the collage of commentary. And that has to do with having corrected my status. And I was talking with you about that last week, Soma. When you want to know what it is that you can do to, say, avoid the agenda they're imposing, the digital ID, is the next thing coming that would impose a great deal of hardship and suffering potentially, especially on our kind. You if you maintain in this country, if you maintain your U.S. citizenship status, or in, I don't know what you call it, Osoma, in Ireland, what makes you, how they might have made you their ward of the state in Ireland. I know usually it's, usually it's done through the birth certificate. And this is a moment at which we are all trafficked. We are all human trafficked as babies, from our birthright, our birth standing on the land and soil. We're trafficked into a corporate possession, basically, at that point. And our parents didn't know. There was no full disclosure. They didn't know what they were doing when they were agreeing to have a birth certificate created for us. So I think that we always have to remember, first and foremost, that in the United States, our federal government is a corporation. It's a corporate structure. Corporations don't exist in the 3 dimensions. They exist on paper only. And the people that are maneuvering on behalf of the corporation, the employees of the corporation, don't fully understand what they are doing and who they work for. That's the majority of the underlings in the corporation. And the corporation exists in, there are 3 jurisdictions of law. One is land, which is the L in law. One is air, which is the A in law. And the other one is water, which is the W in law. Those are the 3 original jurisdictions. And as babies, when they make the birth certificate, when they make the social security number, and they securitize us, they have moved us from the land jurisdiction without our knowledge to the water jurisdiction. And so in the United States, even though we declared independence from King George, we were, unbeknownst to us, we were infiltrated as far back as 1860, Abraham Lincoln's presidency. We were infiltrated basically by lawyers. Our lawyers, they tell us they're members of the bar. They have a license to practice law. They don't have a license to practice law because you don't need one. It's a right, actually, that everybody has to practice law. And the law should really be very simple, but the corporations have made it intensely complex. It's just so hard to stay on topic here. So they took us off the land and they put us in their jurisdiction where they claimed ownership of us, basically. And they have been making money off of everything that we do. It's not just our bodies. It's not just our energy. It is our work product. It is our thoughts. It is everything that they are tapping into in their surveillance system, is what they are helping themselves to what they perceive they own already. So how do you take care of yourself is you step out of their corporate structure, you step out of their system. And that is the importance of reclaiming your correct political status, reclaiming your birthright. In this country, if you don't reclaim your birthright, you actually don't have the God-given rights, what we call the unalienable rights. You only have human rights or civil rights. And humans, they interpret, the definition of human is, in their book, it's a monster, right? They look at us as animals, as less than themselves. And so they have no compunction when they treat us, when they take our homes, when they take our jobs, when they separate our families, when they slander us, when they, whatever. They love being able to cause that kind of pain. And I think that we cannot assume we are sovereign powers, because in some part their corporations have taken that, they have usurped upon our sovereign powers. And so on the public record, it's important to say, no, I was born an American and I am again an American. I am a living flesh and blood woman or man. And I don't have a contract with you anymore. I was entered into contract with you unconscionably when I was a baby. I didn't have any awareness of that, but now I'm aware of it. And now I say, no, I am not, you have no authority over me, because we have no contract. I have severed the contract. I have returned to the land and soil where the living being is, living man and woman. And not a human being, because human is like their term. It's very hard to use the correct terminology in a way, because it's been imposed. Their language has been so imposed and deeply ingrained in us. But so that's the first thing to reclaiming, I think, your sovereignty and your energy for yourself and your body for yourself. And when you reclaim that sovereignty and you become, when you are on the record as being a living man or woman, it signals to them that they don't have the right to, plow right over you, for example. And also you have, they have to prove that they have a right to give you a digital ID and to control you via such mechanisms. And they can't prove that, especially if you're documented as being living and not presumed. When you're in the water jurisdiction, you're presumed dead. You're presumed to be a dead entity and a fiction, just as much as the corporation is a fiction. So there's that. Then there's the government shutdown here in this country. Is actually, I hope that it helps support the perspectives you already have, but the government shutdown is not about the Democrats and their recalcitrance. It's about the municipal service provider portion of the federal government that went into involuntary Chapter 7 bankruptcy starting in 2015, and that bankruptcy was finalized October 1st of 2024. So all of the municipal franchises should not be operating anymore. And that would apply to like the Department of Motor Vehicles. That would apply to all of the district courts, which shouldn't be out here in the States. And I know this sounds like it's related only to the United States, but there are parallels in all the countries that are operating the same way. And that has to do with all the members of the United Nations. What is that? Still 197 countries. They're all operating this same way. They have the same system structure. And anyway, so to get back to the United States, the bankruptcy has to be administered. And Donald Trump is not the president of a country. He's the president of a company, of a corporation. And that's true with Keir Starmer, and that's true with Emmanuel Macron, and that's true with, all the other European leaders. Maybe not. Maybe it's not true in Poland. I don't know. Because they seem to be acting independently, and in Hungary independently. But anyway, Donald Trump is presiding over the liquidation of the assets of the municipal service provider. And that is why so many people are being fired from government jobs, because they were working for the municipal corporate government. And the one that President Trump is presiding over as CEO is the British Territorial Federal Commercial Service Provider. And that one, I believe, is also bankrupt. So that one will be the next bankruptcy. But right now, people are losing their jobs and their food stamps are being delayed. Food stamps must have been a part of what the municipal government is one of their responsibilities. So, so this Doge was very instrumental in, of course, identifying in a public way that there was abuse of taxpayer money, that there was waste on frivolous things that have nothing to do with the American people and our, our proud nation. Anyway.
Can I just come back? So I always like, and I was saying to Dennis the other day, I don't even like it, but I always see the higher picture, and it's not something that I'm even proud of. But I did this on the other day on Veronica's podcast, where I do see the bigger picture or the higher picture, where the governments are reptilians. They are fucking reptilians, and
Yeah.
so we have all this stuff going on Earth, and people are against the governments, and rightly so, because of the things that they are doing. But let us, and part of me knows that I'm wrong for my belief, but I'm half human, and yes, I channel the Pleiadians, and I can get myself into a very higher altered state very quickly because I've been connected to them as a child. But the governments are run by reptilian alien beings, so they are doing all this stuff, but people need to wake up and realize this. These people are not human. They are satanic, they are cult leaders, they are reptilian, they are blue bloods or cold bloods. The royal families are reptilian alien beings. These are not normal human beings. So we have all these situations and events playing out that are horrendous, such as everything that Emily's been speaking about, and Brian and Veronica and Alex and all of us here this evening, including Michelle, who's not here now, but all these events and situations, and I see it time and time and time and time again on social medias like TikTok and other places where people are against the governments, but they're not realizing who the governments are. The governments are an alien species, an alien.
They're not even governments, actually. They're not really governments. And they are.
But I have to speak to that, Emily, because I know you've gone through like the legal fiction of like the country, the corporation, maritime law. But I've even spoken to people who they've tried to work their way up through the system and declare themselves sovereign. And at the end of the day, that doesn't work. They still laugh at that. The only thing that's going to work is that we, the people, rise up and take power. The legal stuff, declaring myself sovereign on paper, at the end of the day, the Satanists don't even care. It's a nice legal
I know.
fiction. Oh, great. On paper, I'm sovereign. Meanwhile, they're still taking our children.
It's not. Yeah.
I
totally
agree.
I'm sorry. I
totally agree. I think that I think it's an important aspect, but it's not the holy grail.
I'm sorry. It's not. I have to interrupt. It's not about what's on paper. It's only on paper because that's their system that requires it. You have to first you have to sever yourself from their system.
I've never seen anyone do it. And even once they've severed themselves, supposedly, I've never seen it have a material difference. And when I do, it'll be great.
But that's because their courts are still running and their law enforcement officers are still imposing
so basically
their
on paper it
laws
doesn't
on
mean
us.
anything because by default we're still under Anunnaki reptilian rule, but on paper you're declared sovereign. Great.
Well, you have to take one step at a time. You have to go in a forward motion toward.
I consider organizing forward motion, not fighting in the court
system
system and paperworking each other to death. There's a very big difference between organizing on a massive scale and fighting these guys to declare ourselves sovereign on paper in a system that they don't even recognize the laws that they set.
Well, it's like playing the game within their game, right? If we're
sorry, hold on, guys. I'm going to intervene here.
I get so excited.
I know. It's great because this is what we fucking need. We need this type of energy to move forward and move above and move and beyond and create a new Earth. I actually agree with both Brian and Emily. And this is what I was talking about just now. I'm very, because of my trauma and abuse and being raped and all of that stuff as a child, I'm very good at leaving my body and going up and looking down on situations, or from the left side or the right side, or which from like a different, seeing the bigger picture. And I agree with both Brian and Emily. And I think what's needed is both. I think the paperwork is great, but I think that the paperwork by itself alone is not enough. It's not just the paperwork we need. We also need that internal spark that ignites us, that puts us into a space of being sovereign and not allowing the motherfuckers, not allowing the bullshit, not allowing the manipulation, not allowing the control. We need both. We need the paperwork and the internal voice, the internal spark, the internal I am, and I will not back down. I will not let you do that to me. I will not let you inject me. I will not let you give me a government digital ID. I will not let you take my children. I will not consent. I will not let you. And I think the paperwork is an important aspect, but the ignition within us, the spark, the eternal,
eternal flame, the eternal flame. And that's, I'm glad you pointed that out, because I had another friend of mine, and also she's been listening to my stuff since I started. She's awesome. Thank you, Jessica. She told me, how is it that John can say, let it go, don't pursue it? Because he had some things stolen from the FBI and he had to let him go.
yes.
Now, Tom Althouse, they killed his sons. He spoke against Warner Brothers taking his script. And also he was being trained to be the right-hand man of Robinson, the Christian Coalition. He spoke against that. What if I would have given up and not spoken against what happened? What if Tom would have given up and just said, let it go? Let it go. You have to stand for your right to party, right? Stand for your right to you are sovereign. You are, and that's I agree with all of you, all three of you. And you said it, Soma. When you have that flame and you know, for you not to let people step over you, because you love yourself first enough to believe in yourself first, that you are worthy, that you save yourself. Yeah, when you realize how powerful of a being we are, singular and together even more, no one can steal our heart. No one can. It's just, you know, we see it in history time and time again. We see it with whistleblowers that they've killed. We see them, you know, but we stand. We keep standing until the end. We cannot let them, oh, it's okay. The FBI said to let them steal from you. No, it's not okay. I'm not saying the FBI, but in this situation, John worked for the FBI for 25 years. They stole some things from him. He said he let it go, but I didn't let it go. Tom didn't let it go. It's an individual decision. Because going back to what I said earlier, we have free will. So what is your will? May my will be done. May your will be done. That's the name of the game here. It's a chess game here on Earth. The black, the white, the good, the bad. We got to walk the middle path. But know thyself to figure out, oh, that's program, or oh, he's lying, or that's a scare tactic. They want us to be in fear and be obedient, like that movie with the sunglasses, right? It's all shadows. Go ahead.
First of all, the FBI is not a government agency. The government is only three parts: executive, legislative, and judicial. Okay. So all that other stuff is extraneous. It's all something that they use to fool us with. I don't personally rely on the paperwork to protect me, but I rely on the paperwork to draw a line between me, my reality, and them and their reality and their system. I'm not part of their system. And I don't want, so and one of the things that our fiduciary is always reminding us of, as a thing is done, so it must be undone. And so they have done this to us without our permission. So I take back ownership of my body, ownership of my life, ownership of, whatever. I am separate and apart from them and their machinations and their world global agenda. I'm separate from that, and I will not allow them, exactly what you're saying. I will not allow them to have control over me or my life. And I stand for what's right, but this is like this birth certificate and stuff. It's like a little umbilical cord that ties me to them. I don't want that tie.
Yeah, and there's a couple of people coming to mind to do with the paperwork, like Sasha Stone, but also a friend of mine, Stella Fairburn, who's an Irish woman. I think she's living in Spain now, but she's also a singer. And I was talking to you the other day, Emily, and I was saying you should get in touch with her. Stella
Right.
Fairburn. She does a sovereignty decree that does involve a little finger prick of people's blood, which I was debating whether to give at the time in 2020, but I tuned into the energy of it, and I did do my sovereignty degree with her. And also she did it with a really good guy called Jerry Sargent, who runs the Star Magic, I think it's Star Magic, Star Magic. So so that's what I did anyway, and I did
Good.
find it helped.
Yeah, good.
But yeah, so a lot of the paperwork, I believe a lot of the paperwork or some of the paperwork anyway that you're talking about, I think Sasha Stone does talk a lot about it, and I think his university that he set up also talks about the strawman and the birth certificate. And of course, our parents had no idea what they were doing.
Yeah.
And actually, I want to mention a lot of gypsies, a lot of travelers don't have birth certificates. They're not registered. And also a lot of Tibetan people as well. They're not registered at the time of birth, which is interesting.
Well, that's very fortunate for them, because as soon as you register anything, it says that you are not the owner of that thing.
Yeah. And I wanted to mention Greg Braden. I just find him amazing. And I first found him in 2009, actually, when I first began to channel the Pleiadians consciously. That I remember. And then of course I had all the memories coming back of childhood connection with them. But anyway, Greg Braden, I highly recommend watching some of his stuff. He's really progressed, and really there's a lot of science that backs up everything that we're saying, and he's really at the forefront of that now, and he's coming out with new he's talking about it. He's letting people know the science behind what the conspiracy theories or theorists have been saying for so long. I hate that term, the conspiracy theorists, because
that's because it's their term. It's their derogatory term. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, and that was invented by the CIA back whenever. So
I think it was invented after JFK's death.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Alex, I'm sorry for interrupting earlier, and because you were about to speak, but does anyone have anything else they'd like to say? Do you want to talk about anything else? I kind of feel like we should wrap this up, but I would love to do this again.
Yeah, no, I was just adding to what Brian and Emily were talking about, and also I was about to just say that I have to go soon. So you saying that we're wrapping it up is perfect timing.
So,
I just wanted to
Alex,
say it's been such a
what,
pleasure sharing this space with you all
how
and
can
getting the
people
advice
find
and
you,
wisdom
Alex?
that you have to share.
Thank you, Alex. How can people find you? Do you have a website?
Yeah, I would prefer people go to school.com/ascend pathway. It's SKOOL. My original website, I just don't like Wix. Like half of my emails don't even go to the people. It goes right into their archived folders. So I'm switching things over to the school platform where we have weekly meetings. Actually, this event right here, Soma, is on there. So people that are in there, they can just click on it and jump straight in. It works really, really well. We have 4 weekly meetings, and I'm collecting healers and others that have an online gift that they can share to a group or meetings or podcasts or whatever people would want more viewers to see. I mean, I'm putting that all on my calendar. So it's like a one-stop shop for spiritual growth.
Fantastic. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to collaborating with you more, and yeah.
All right, and I'll put that in my in the chat, the link to my place. And yes, let's have a one-on-one at some point to discuss further
But please
collaboration.
don't put it in the chat because I never get to after the I never get to read it after. But do put it in the Facebook group, The Great Awakening of Humanity Now.
Okay.
And also for Veronica and Brian and Emily, if you want to share your things in that group, I will make you, and also for Alex, I will pre-allow you. It's called so your posts normally come to me, but if I pre-allow it, it goes straight out. So it's called the Great Awakening of Humanity Now. It's a Facebook group. I think there's something like 4,000 members or plus. I don't get on there as often as I would like to or should, but if you come and join that group, I started it in 2020, and it was just solely to share stuff because we were being so censored at the time. Okay, so who's up next? Oh, please share your websites. How can people find you?
FullDisclosure.live and FullDisclosureMovement.org.
Tonight's been very passionate, hasn't it?
Very, very well. This will go viral if you write down keywords so people can keep in tags. I don't know why it's not letting me record. So anyway, I'm Veronica Bartolini with Codebreaker Real Talk, Bettles Junk Journals, Unchained Hearts, Unchaining Hearts, Queen Bee Fashions. I'm everywhere. Just Google my name. Telegram, I have Linktree, Codebreaker Codebreaker Real Talk. My website is on www.card, CAARD, I think it is, and then it's Codebreaker Real Talk. My email is andromedaean1800@protonmail.com. Just like I said, Google my name, hashtag Veronica Bartolini, and you'll find me. If not, I'm on, Facebook. You can message me there. Okay, thank you so much.
I think I saw Alex having a physical
You're
reaction.
Andromedan?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm from Andromeda.
Yeah.
They say I'm Andromeda Galaxy, but I'm like, oh gosh, that would be like, I don't know.
No, I communicate with them fairly regularly, so that's awesome. There's no coincidence that we met.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then I'm also part of the Seven Sisters. I'm part of the group of 5 in the Alien Council for the Children with Susan Long. I'm part of the Council of 9. A lot. I have family with the Lyrians, I'm also part gray with the Dolphin program. I'm a dragon. I'm a gold dragon. This has taken me a while to figure out because I was born, like all of us, we're born with abilities, and we, as we get older, and we start clearing the trauma and start believing in ourselves, we get more powerful psychically like that. Yesterday, I wanted something for my daughter and I didn't have the money yet. I told, as soon as I saw it, that's for my daughter, I said, and I'm gonna get it. And then I had given the lady from the gift shop one of my books that are $300. I gave it to her free about a year ago when I was going through the other cancer, because she said, I've always wanted one and I've seen them online, the junk journals. I go, the next day I came to her, I said, thank you, because she gave me wigs because my hair fell. And so then she comes back and says, this is for you because you're so nice to me. And I'm like, wow, 20 minutes manifested it like that. All I knew is that I was going to get it, and that's how it is with food. That's how it is with, paying certain things or certain things that I need. I'm grateful because what I do with these books, when they're special ordered, I tap into the people's energy and I do a reading. I just do a reading for them automatically when I'm making these, and then I'll make a story on when I bind them and everything. I'll put it on YouTube and then say, okay, here's your reading and here's a book. Thank you. I shipped it, or and they're just like, what? How can you? I'm like, I don't know. It just comes to me. So we have to make artwork, work with our hands or something, us that are here and are listening, to keep our mind occupied, and things will come to you, whether it's light language, right, Alex, or Brian putting these conferences and talking about them, and Emily here sharing, and Carol and the other lady. We are magic, and don't forget that. Thank you.
I am sorry, I didn't know that you weren't able to record.
It's okay. Just share away, and then I'm on Rumble, Draco 3333. So I usually will share from YouTube too, and then I should be on Odyssey as well. I'm not sure. So there's a chat. Thank you. Yes, Emily, I have a German Shepherd. I have to walk mine too. Okay.
All right, you guys. Bye.
You
Have a
guys,
good week.
Bye. It was nice to meet
I
you.
have to go, Soma. Thank you so much for everything, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, guys. Thank you,
Emily,
Carol.
before you go, Emily, do you want people to reach out to you?
Soma, I don't have a website. I just have a YouTube page, and it just has some of my music performances on there. So, and it's simply my name, Emily Scala. Right now, it's very straightforward, and I do have Proton Mail is Emily Scala at Proton Mail. It's just very simple.
What
So
instrument do you play, Emily? I play the violin.
I'm a professional flutist. I used to be principal flute with the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra, and
Nice.
yeah.
I play piano.
Okay.
Woo! We gotta do
It's
something.
everywhere.
Yes, I was with Philharmonic Orchestra of Tucson, and I played in the mariachi, sang with Vicky Carr. We gotta get together, yo.
Mariachi, I love it.
Love it. Wow, you
I
guys.
didn't know that about you.
What?
She didn't know that about you.
That's you guys, and Alex plays the piano. I could play the piano lyrically, without notes. Okay, I better go. Love you guys.
Okay. Bye.
Thank
Bye,
you, guys.
everyone.
Bye. It was so nice meeting you.